Hi there, I'm Shawna Robins, and I have the pleasure of doing an Authority Magazine interview today with Loren Lahav. She's a transformational coach and a speaker dedicated to helping women embrace their true worth and to live fully. With over 30 years of experience and a signature blend of energy and wisdom, she creates powerful experiences that inspire lasting change. Lauren's programs and her events will empower women to take action for their dreams, and with clients ranging from stay-at-home moms to Fortune 500 CEOs. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's talk about how to build stress resilience with a positive mindset.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here to talk about this because I think that there's so much overwhelm for people right now that they're wondering, like, can I even get to that place where I can calm my mind and be able to handle all this happening? Because I think the external world puts so much pressure on us. And that if we can just one of my favorite things to say is always return to the breath. And have you ever
Mm,
noticed that when you return to the breath, I know you're the sleep expert and you know it's all about breath, right? And
right.
I think
Great.
for all of us that if when you really just can stop, take a big deep breath and just, turn off the noise that's happening around you is one of the biggest things that I would say to people.
I love that. Okay, so is there any, because so many people have different breathing techniques that they use or they're like, is there anything that you teach or that you prefer?
So interesting because before I ever get on a call or before I ever go and do an event, I love doing priming. Many, many years ago, I had learned Kundalini yoga I had the opportunity to go do that with some Sikhs, and it really helped me. It was right after I had my first child, and which I was stressed, right? Once again, let's just go back to stress. And everybody was giving me their opinions about what to do to be a great parent. And I noticed the stress building up. And I remember once I did that Kundalini session for myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got this. So I think priming's been a wonderful thing for me. Breath walking, as you know, I've been in the personal development world for now 35 years. And one of the biggest thing I've learned is something that Tony Robbins calls the triad, which is your physiology, your focus, and your language. And when you can incorporate all those pieces, that's why I like breath walking so much, because one, it includes your physiology. Two, you're focused on your breath. And then third, you have a specific language, a little mantra that you do for yourself. And just recently, I'm obsessed with um, mouth taping. I got to say,
Ah,
I can't believe what a different, and I'm a pretty good, I'm a really great sleeper. My husband says that I'm training for the Olympics with my sleeping, but I, but that I feel that my mouth taping has really helped me even more, just really return to the breath. And sometimes when I'm going through the day, I notice and the stress is building up. I actually take 5 minutes and I might do a little bit of mouth taping just so that I can get laser focused. Because as you know, there's not much you can do. I mean, you really have to focus. And you can't listen to all the noise when you need to just get centered and grounded. But
mm. That's great. You know, you're the first person I've talked to that uses mouth taping during the daytime. Most people use it at nighttime. So
yes.
I really like that you bring that up. And I like that that could be something that could be a great hack for people to use when they just need to be able to take 5 or 10 minutes to calm themselves down. You know, you can teach box breathing, you can teach ocean breathing. There's all these things, but the idea of actually using your mouth taping as like for the next 5 minutes, this is what we're going to do. I think that's really powerful.
It's been amazing. I can't even tell you the difference that it has made for me. I think because lots of times, even I think for a long time, I've always set my phone just to breathe. I'll just say at 10:52, everybody knows it's time. Lauren's going to say, okay, everybody, let's take our deep breaths. Right. And then I'll set an alarm first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed. But I think sometimes now that's a little bit like noise and I need something to make a visceral change in myself. And that's what I've noticed that has really helped me a lot. Right. Because it's like we intellectually know what to do, like you said, like with the box breathing and everything else. But I found for myself that I just I don't do it. I got to be real honest. As much as I would love to say that I do it, I just don't. Another great thing I think for myself is getting outside. and just getting grounding, just getting in the sun and just sitting outside and just intentionally just being with my breath and then incorporating everything that I'm grateful for. I think today, in the world, we can get overwhelmed with just what's not working in the world. And I know that, like, after I'll get off a call, I know what I'm going to do. After we get off this call, I know I'm going to go outside. I'm going to sit outside with my dogs before I go pick up my daughter, and I'm just going to focus on what was great, what was beautiful, what did I learn, everything in that moment. That's a
Mm.
big thing for me.
I like that you touch on that too. Gratitude, time outside, time in nature. What do you say for people that don't have access to nature the way that you do, living in such a warm climate? Like you said, you just visited your son in Minneapolis. It was freezing. Like, what do you recommend for people that are a bit trapped indoors this time of year?
Well, there you go. It's funny because as I said, I just got back from Minneapolis, and I think it was 14 degrees below zero. And I went, one of his friends who has a wonderful facility there, I actually went and did the dry sauna. And once again, I thought that that was a great opportunity for me to just focus on my breath. And and just getting in that red light is such a wonderful healing energy. So I think that there's so many great resources, right? One of my favorite lines is, the person that's most resourceful always wins. And so whether it's sitting beside a fire, like at the hotel that we stayed at, there was this beautiful fire, and I just went down there and just sat in a comfy chair, focused on my breath again. And whatever resources that you have around you, how can you make the most of it so that you do feel connected to nature?
That's a
Like
really good.
Zach Bush, I don't know if are you familiar with Dr. Zach Bush?
Yes,
So
of course.
I love Zach Bush, especially during the mandatory pause or the COVID time. And he said, Mother Nature, she's crying for us to give us all of our challenges back. We've been inside so much, and there she was begging for us to get out there, stomp our feet, climb a mountain, do anything just to get back into nature. So I found that that's been just a great resource for myself.
That's all such great tips. I absolutely love that. So as far as, stress, like a mindset for stress resilience, you've really touched on all these physical actions that people can use and that you use. So tell me a little bit about mindset shifting to help your body deal with stress better.
Well, I've been saying this for, I think, 20 years, ever since I've been doing talks around the world, is I believe, people get themselves physically ready for the day, but they don't get themselves emotionally ready for the day. So every day, and I've said this, if you were to listen to anything that I've done for the past 20 years, every day I wake up and I say to myself, today is going to be the best day of my life again. Before I say anything else, before I even get out of bed, first all, I'm like, woo, another great day above ground, right? As they would always say. So, and then I say that, and then I go into my I am statements. I do believe I love that now that people are finally like taking it on. But every day I say, I'm loving, I'm honest, I'm passionate, I'm compassionate, I'm a kick ass, I'm full of faith, I'm God's girl, I'm 2 meter tight, I'm a sexy salsa dancer, I'm a great coach, I'm an awesome mom, I'm hilarious. And I would say nobody can take that away from me unless we give it to them. And once again, I'm going back to the external world. There's so much external validation. I think also with social media, putting that pressure on that comparison, that we forget who we are at our core. And when you can return to that center, nobody can take it away from you. But you've got to come into the day full. And I think the reason why people do experience so much stress is they're not emotionally ready for the day. You gotta go to that gym, just like you go to the physical gym. You gotta go to that emotional gym. My friend did this beautiful thing for me on my 50th birthday. She wrote 50 things that she loved about me. And I look at it every single day. I'll be 60 next year. I can't believe it. And I can almost read out all those 50 things that she wrote about me, because I fill myself up every day with those things that she says, like my whole thing is, stay true to who you are. My cowboy boots, my how much I love my kids, the dog loving mama, all of these different things. And I just smile and I'm just so happy. I think that we you got to do those things that make you happy. And the first thing is you got to be happy with you.
Mm.
You're not going to be able to have any influence on anybody else unless you really are, you're proud of who you are and what you stand for in the world. One thing that I do as well, that I would encourage everyone to do, is I keep a picture of my 5-year-old self with me. And every day I tell her like all the challenges that we've been through, what we've experienced, what we're about to do. And I really have this conversation, and that gets my mind in a really beautiful place. And the noise automatically kind of turns off.
Wow. All right. So I have to share mine.
Ah,
This is my
yay!
girl picture.
I love
Of
that.
my dad and I. So my dad passed away about 3 years ago, but I keep it right here on my desk. Same thing. Because I remind myself that he's with me and that he loves me. And I remind that girl right at that time, seventh grade, tough year, tough time, right? I remind that young girl of all the amazing things that she's going to accomplish, she has accomplished, her
See?
worthy she is. It's all the same. And so I love
I love that. I don't know
to
if you've
share
seen
that.
Ted Lasso. Have you seen
Of
Ted
course,
Lasso?
of course.
And then when she looks and she's about to go into the meeting with her ex-husband,
Yes.
and she does the
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right. And I think we all need a little bit of that. I mean, I don't know about you. I wake up every day and I'm like, here we go. We're going. Let's go. People think I'm a little crazy, but I love that. I mean, I remember like who I'm here and that I got a purpose. I don't know about, I mean, I think that people have to remember, God, what a gift life is. You want to get your mindset in the right place and not deal with all the noise, like I said, is that be so beyond grateful for what we have in this opportunity that we do have. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I've learned. I don't know. It's like sometimes I just go, why do we make it so hard? Like what part of us that is that we're looking for this to be significant in some way. I remember once I'm trying to think how many years ago it was, 20, almost 24 years ago. And I went to go hear Richard Bach speak, from Jonathan Livingston Seagull. And he came up, I was living in Oregon at the time, and my son Quinn was just born. And there were like 2,000 people at a place called the Living Enrichment Center with a lady named Mary Mann Morrissey. And my kid just started like complaining. And I'm like, seriously, like I've been waiting this whole time to go, hear Richard Bach. And then I walk out of the room and I just connect with my kid. I just like, I'm really there present. And the minute that I connected with him, he fell asleep. And I'm like, yes. It's like kind of tiptoe back into the event. And you know how you walk in the room just when you need to hear something. Mm-hmm. And somebody goes, oh, well, what is the purpose of your life? And he leans over and he goes, at the end of your life, you're only going to be asked one thing. And that one thing is, how much did you love? How much did you love the good times, the bad times, the times that really stretched you? I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And I think for all of us, that stress will go away when you really just go, you know what? How much did I love? How much, who am I becoming because of this hard situation, right? We don't grow when it's easy. We grow when it's tough. And I think that appreciation for those times, having that awareness that it's going to make you more resilient is one of the most beautiful gifts that we can give ourselves.
Yeah, and it's a stress reliever, right? Like the
It
second
is.
that you choose to tune into these other things, the stress naturally dissipates.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you for joining me today. You gave great information. I really appreciated this conversation. Good tips, good mindsets. I love your practices. I think that you were able to synthesize them all so well for people to be able to at least grab something that can, whether it's the morning routine, whether it's the breath work, whether it's the nature walks, whatever it is, any like the aspect of that they can grab to help fortify themselves is so important.
Well, thank you. And like you said, it doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to say, it could be 2 minutes. Like I said, it could be just do one, maybe take one of those things, whether it's saying to yourself, today is going to be the best day of your life, or whether it's getting outside 5 minutes between your meetings, something. It doesn't take a lot. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed because they think, oh my gosh, well, unless I'm doing a half hour of meditation and I'm not doing it right, or unless I'm spending an hour, an hour in the morning getting things right. I don't know about you. My life, I do my life in little nuggets. I do that in the little pauses of everything else that's happening around me.
Yeah,
So
that's
thank
great.
you so much.
Yeah, thank you for joining me.